most countries, they should view the birth rate as the single biggest problem they need to solve. I mean, if you don't make new humans, there's no humanity, and all the policies in the world don't matter.
According to alarming statistics, the global birth rate is plummeting, and it's triggering an unprecedented demographic crisis. Countries around the world are grappling with drastic declines in fertility rates, leading to an aging population and a shrinking workforce. This isn't just a trend. It's a catastrophic trajectory that threatens societal stability as we know it. Major nations now face the very real possibility of economic collapse as the workforce dwindles. Yep, mainstream media remains willfully ignorant of this looming disaster. So, who's behind this demographic crisis? Well, at least in part, globalist elites have contributed inordinately to this crisis, propagating anti-natalist agendas under the guise of sustainable development. Or think of how woke leaders promote the narrative that children and families they're actually ecological threats and economic burdens. These elites have pushed policies that not only discourage childbirth, but also vilify family-oriented values, contributing to this global crisis. They continue to deny any accountability for the ensuing chaos, resorting instead to the narrative that reducing population growth is somehow a public good. Shrinking the public is somehow a public good. As the birth rate drops, communities fracture, children become a rare commodity, and the future of nations hangs in the balance, a mess crafted by our so-called leaders. Now, thankfully, we now have mainstream voices like Elon Musk speaking out about this issue and drawing attention to the reality of low birth rates. And we're also seeing traditional religions surging among the youth, leading to optimism among many leaders for the future of the pro-natalist movement and a vibrant future for our nation. Joining me today is one of the courageous people speaking up about this, Kevin Dolan. Kevin has been on the front lines advocating for pro-natal mindsets and policies that uplift families and empower our future generations. His work and insights have already transformed countless lives, and we'll soon discover how he envisions a lasting solution to this increasing crisis. Kevin, welcome, my friend. Great to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much. Good to be here.
It's an honor to have you, man. So as someone who's been on the front lines of the pro-natalist movement as yourself, I'm curious really what you think is behind so much of this. I mean, in your view, what are some of the specific environmental, social changes and the like that are serving as the biggest disruptors for the birth rate? I mean, in general, what do you think is causing this crisis that we're in now?
Well, there's a huge set of factors that combine. It definitely has to do with the relationships between men and women, the way that we sort of are struggling to find partners and get married and trust each other and sort of bring a relationship to that point where people feel like they can trust each other enough to do that. It definitely has to do with the economic constraints that so many families are under. It definitely has to do with the fact that we can just sort of choose as a pharmaceutical matter to not have kids in a way that was much more difficult to do before. It all goes in the soup. It has to do with the sort of panopticon, the fact that young people have grown up in a situation where they're under constant observation, and so, yeah, there isn't exactly one thing, which means there's not a silver bullet either. And so part of why we're having this conference is to bring lots and lots of perspectives together to look for a holistic solution.
Yeah, I've been actually listening through a number of the talks from, was it the 2023 conference? I think it was the last one, which are excellent. They're so good. The last one I just listened to was Balaji Srinivasan's, which was very, very good. And we're going to be talking about this. We'll be getting together in Austin in a few weeks, which I'm really excited about. I'm curious, the narrative around sustainable development generally frames population growth as a burden, on economic and ecological resources and the like. How do you counter that argument and make the case that more children could actually strengthen society and the planet in the long run?
Yeah, well, so there was a famous bet that was made with Paul Ehrlich on the subject of his book, The Population Bomb, where another academic sort of presented a bunch of categories of commodities. And he was like, all right, in 25 years, we both agree the population will have gone up. Let's see what happens to the price of these commodities. And all of them went down.
Wow.
One of our attendees, Gail Pooley, is an academic who wrote a book called Superabundance, which is basically about the fact that like the more individuals you have, the more brain power, the more problem solvers that you have on the ground, we just continually find new ways to get more out of our resources. And so essentially the population decline actually leads to far less efficient allocation of resources. I mean, you can see this. There's a lot going on in a place like Detroit, but one of the biggest picture issues in the city of Detroit is just the total collapse of the tax base, which means that, you may be living on a street, you may be taking good care of your house and your yard, but the whole rest of the street is in disrepair. You're still having to pay all of the infrastructure costs for all the power and the water and sewer and everything. And, that's in an environment where, the state government, the federal government is more or less solvent. But like, if you imagine that happening in kind of everywhere all at once, it can be a really dramatic problem.
Yeah, and it's an environmental hazard in of itself. And also I love how you say it. Just the more, the larger the brain trust, and the more we can figure out how to live harmoniously with our ecology. It is interesting that Elon Musk, who's done more, an entrepreneur who's done more to fulfill that end than anyone else, is also one of the big advocates precisely of pronatalism in the organization. I'm just curious, have you been able to chat with him at all? I don't know if you've ever been able to meet him, but I know I think he would love what you're doing.
Yeah, I hope so. I have not had personal contact with him, although he did post my speech from NATOCon 2023 in full on X, and
Nice.
It got something like 25 million views. It was incredible.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was incredible. But no, I haven't met with him personally.
Oh, that's great. Well, there you go. I mean, that's awesome. That's such an amazing endorsement, and it was a great speech too. I've heard yours as well. So,
thank you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm curious again, because you've thought about this so much, and that's why I love interacting with everyone at the conference. But one of the things that I notice when I was researching pronatalist activities, pronatalist conferences, and the like, and yours is the premier, is how it gets criticized by the media. I don't know if you heard earlier, we're now finding out so much of our press is actually bought and paid for. So the headlines are already pre-written in many ways. But you get criticized for being this far right, patriarchal, anti-woman organization. And you just get this off-sided criticism of pronatalist policies, that they infringe on personal freedoms. They push women in traditional roles they don't want. Yeah, how do you respond to those concerns? And what is your pronatalist vision?
Well, so as far as the criticisms, that seems, the idea that anybody's going to be forced into anything is completely, it's a total confabulation, because if every woman in America were having the number of children that she says she wants, there would be no fertility problem. It's entirely like, yes. Wow. It is not an issue of like, these women are napping on the job. They're not like pulling their weight. People are they're having their process of dating and preparing for marriage and getting married and having kids. That process is being disrupted. Yeah. And people are not able to obtain what they're actually clearly looking for. So the objective of this conference and everything we're doing is we're just trying to get everybody what they want. We're trying to get everybody across the finish line, which is where they're already trying to go. I love it. And to the extent that there's pushback from women, sometimes I think it may be because it seems like it seems not possible or not trustworthy. Like they don't trust the solution. They don't trust that like the people who are pushing these narratives have their best interests at heart. And so I feel a huge sense of responsibility to be like, even across like the political divide, like, you know, I'm a conservative. I don't make any apology for that. But like, there are a lot of people who have sort of a liberal temperament or bent who are being sort of opted out of this next generation based on this differential fertility. And like a lot of when I will say that, some conservative commentators will be like, well, that's good, right? Because you know we're gonna outbreed them and we're gonna win. I don't see it that way at all. I think those people, that temperament, that bent has so much to offer the world, and I want to see everybody make it. And so, and furthermore, like even beyond like what I might want, it's like you can't pitch people on like you must have children, like for the state or for Social Security or for the housing market. Like that's, nobody responds to that.
Nobody responds to that.
Particularly in this very subjective, emotional realm of love and companionship and dating, people need to feel like heightened trust and heightened respect, and like they need to feel like they are their concerns are validated. And so a huge part of what we're doing at the conference is like we want to bring everybody together, and we want to solve everybody's challenges here. So yeah, I mean, basically, I think the criticism is just rooted in, you know, they find out that I'm kind of a right-wing guy and I kind of have right-wing friends, and so they just assume that it means it's all the sort of bad names you can be called. But that's not who we are at all.
And I noticed that with the speaker lineup as well. It seems to be in many ways it's very pre-political. You're talking about something that's foundational to society, and politics will come out of that. But let's get that foundation first, so that everybody's invited to this.
Yeah,
and I love how you. Yeah, please.
We tried to invite Paul Ehrlich. We tried to invite the population bomb guy. He didn't bite. But yeah, we want everybody. We want everybody. You know, come tell us that we're crazy. You know, if that's what you want to say, like, let's have the argument. Let's discuss it. Right.
Let's have the discussion. But I love what you said, because I did read that. I think I even heard it from one of the speakers at your conference, that if women were able to have the children they want, that they desire, we, like you said, we wouldn't be in this population crisis. 2.1 would be nothing per child.
Right.
Would be around 3 or so. But there are these environmental, social factors that are getting in their way, and that's what this conference, it seems to me, is so much about, is really thinking about how we were able to effectively address that and again, like you say, for everyone. This is pre-political. So I guess one political side tends to is more open to the discussion, but even that doesn't quite work, because our politics are changing so much. I think this is something I might even bring up at the conference. We're not so much a horizontal nation anymore, left versus right. It's more vertical. It's kind of more the people versus sort of this out of touch political class. It's kind of ruling for its own, you know, gain and affluence and power and so forth. So it seems like we're having an opportunity to now have conversations in such a way where the old, you know, political wedge issues, left versus right, don't quite get in the way as much anymore. So at least that's what I'm hoping. For listeners who feel overwhelmed by this crisis, our audience will obviously be a very pro-natal audience, very concerned about the demographic decline. And if they want to do something, or they want to take some actions, can you give us, like, say, one actionable step that everyone can take today, whether in their own lives or in their communities, to support the pro-natalist cause that you're championing?
I mean, the biggest challenge, I think, for people who have this concern is just finding other people who share that concern. And I really think, like, you're right, there's a lot of gloom and doom about this topic. And I would counteract that with, like, there's all kinds of opportunities that are going to emerge as this unfolds. It's demographic change is going to create tremendous amounts of volatility. It's going to create tremendous amounts of change, which if you are observant and you're looking for ways to take advantage and take care of your family, you're going to make it. You're going to be all right. And so it really is just about connecting with people. I mean, that's the whole point of the conference is like we want to connect as many people as possible who are interested in this. And we're going to be talking about not just like what's causing it, but like what can you do about it? Like what kind of investment strategies will make sense in this world? Like there's all sorts of, this is a problem that big political and like corporate institutions are not equipped to deal with, because it's this thing that has to be, you have to take actions right now that you don't see the benefit of for 18 years, right? Because you can't make 10-year-olds, you can't make 15-year-olds, you got to make newborns, right? And then they got to grow up into the population that are going to be sort of shouldering the burden. And what that means is that there are all sorts of institutions that ordinarily would be like, sort of day trading way faster than you, able to capture opportunities that you couldn't possibly capture. But those big institutions can't see this issue. Right. And so there's all sorts of lanes you could go through where human judgment can really pay off. So, but back to your original question of how do people get involved? I would say sign up for the mailing list, get a ticket if you can. We're also going to be doing like in the coming months, we're going to be doing like mixers and getting people together on a less formal basis. So sign up for the mailing list and get involved.
So yeah, let's a great pivot. I mean, let's talk about the Pronatalist Conference that's coming up. It's the end of March, I believe, the last weekend of March. Right. This is in Austin. Oh, look at that. We even got our cool QR code that people can click on, or not click on, you just link into. So it's going to be in beautiful Austin, Texas. It's going to be so cool. Give us an overview of what you're doing. What number is this now? How many conferences have you done thus far?
This is number 2.
Number 2. Okay. So 2023 was the first one.
Awesome. Yeah. So getting the Elon bump was a huge deal because that was the inaugural conference. But yeah, it's going to be Austin. Genuinely will be gorgeous in March 28th. It's going to be bluebonnet season, Indian paintbrushes. It's going to be a great kind of spring vibe for this issue, which is fitting. We're going to be meeting at the Bullock Museum of Texas History and having kind of a gala dinner there, and then the conference the following day at the AT&T Conference Center. It's going to be structured with speakers and then unconference content in between, so that a couple of speakers go and then the actual audience gets together to discuss the issue and do Q&A. And we found last year there was people were massively surprised at the quality of the other attendees. Yes. They were really impressed with who was there. And in terms of, this is an issue that has attracted really bright and caring people. And it has given all of us, it's kind of scrambled our political categories. It's given all of us a kind of humility, because you could roughly divide the camps into like tech and trad.
Yep.
And the tech camp is there, and they're like, we have these kind of whiz bang solutions, but we recognize that there are questions of meaning here that like don't show up on a spreadsheet. And we don't necessarily have all those answers. And then on the trad side, it's like, we feel good about our answers to these questions of meaning, but like, I still don't know how my kid is going to find a girl or a boy, and people are, it's something that strikes people very personally, but it is simultaneously so universally relatable that it created really great grounds for people to connect who otherwise have differing opinions on all sorts of things and might not have that kind of opportunity. So it was incredibly warm and honest and open. I couldn't have been happier with it. as far as last year. So we're going to have lots of unconference content, lots of opportunities to get to know the other attendees and connect with other families. We're going to have some like mixer content, some matchmaking content for those who are interested in that. But then also like, so I'm married, I have 6 kids, and I want my family to meet other families, and my wife to have friends that have some of the same challenges that like you just really don't grasp until you've got 6 kids, and just like the size of a minivan, and like getting people to activities, and like there's all sorts of ways in which the world around us is sort of not built for that size of family anymore. And so being able to connect with people who have that experience is super important.
And also, so a lot of that, like the parallel institutions for education and so forth. Yeah. So you got 6, I got 4. So between the 2 of us, we're double digits, man. That's pretty good. And then my partner also has, my business partner has 6. So between the 3 of us, we got 16. So we're doing our part. We're walking the talk, as it were. I just love it. I think it's so awesome. And yeah, the way you're talking about like the tech and the trad sides, it's a perfect example of showing how that horizontal divide really is just it's just melded now. It's really that's kind of passe. That's the old kind of modernist industrial world. Now religion and science, tech and trad are coming together in new and exciting ways for a pronatalist future. It's really beautiful stuff, and I'm just so excited to be a part of it, Kevin. I mean, I love what you're doing. When I came across it, I said, we got to give you guys as much of a platform as we can. We can't. I don't think we're quite as big as Elon, but we're getting there, I think. So, gang, join me and Kevin as we delve deeper into this critical conversation on the Pronatalist Convention, or at the Pronatalist Convention. Right now, if you click on that link below, or you got to scan that code. I love that code. As Trump would say, that big, beautiful code. If you use promo code Turley, you can get a special discount on your tickets to the Pronatalist Convention. Like I said, I'll be there. I'm there to speak, to learn, to fellowship. I'd love to meet you all in person. Plus, they have an amazing lineup of speakers. Check them out. They're awesome. So don't miss out. Get your tickets today to be at that convention. Be part of a movement that it doesn't just champion family values for a sustainable future. I believe this movement really is on the forefront of civilizationless renewal. This is huge stuff. So again, the link's in the description below, or you can scan the QR code on the screen. Remember to use promo code Turley for a special discount, and let's be part of some. Kevin, I got to tell you, I just think I can't wait to meet you. And I can't finish my sentences because I'm so excited. I can't wait to meet you in person and experience this amazing conference. Because again, I really do think you're on the front lines of the renewal of civilization. And I think this is going to be a blessing to generations to come. And I can't think of wanting to be part of anything more wonderful than that. So thank you so much for all your efforts in this.
Thank you so much. It's been wonderful.